Hello, I'm Jonasz Rewiński and you're watching Break the Fake. They make them, we break them and tell you everything you need to know. It's day 1000 of the war in Ukraine, a solemn milestone that stands as a testament to the resilience and courage of the Ukrainian people in the face of overwhelming odds against them. Today, let us remember those who have given their lives in this struggle for their country's freedom.
Мною принято решение о проведении специальной военной операции.
All in all, a remarkable story of determination and courage. Glory to Ukraine, and let ATACMS fly. After all, Russia is a terrorist state, no bones about it. Now, to mark the occasion, Poland's Prime Minister Donald Tusk shared a message on X, formerly known as Twitter, stating, and I quote, 1,000 days of Russian aggression, 1,000 days of Ukrainian heroism and suffering, 1,000 days of Polish help and solidarity. By supporting Ukraine, we are keeping the war away from our borders. Let's remember this every single day." End of quote. The unwavering support and solidarity from neighboring countries like Poland highlights the importance of unity in the face of adversity. As the fight continues, the international community's support remains crucial in aiding Ukraine's defense, as well as the quest for a peaceful and just resolution. And now, behold, Putin's latest masterstroke in diplomacy. How magnanimous of him to outline conditions for ending the war that quintessentially require Ukraine to surrender significant portions of its own territory. According to his terms, Ukraine should withdraw all troops from the so-called Donetsk and Lugansk People's Republics. There isn't such a thing, by the way, you know that. As well as from the Zaporizhia and Kherson regions, which Russia doesn't even fully control. In other words, concede to Russia's territorial ambitions and perhaps wait patiently for the next set of conditions to emerge.
Условия для этого, как я уже говорил, изложены в моем выступлении в Министерстве иностранных дел.
Ennek a feltételei, mint már említettem, a felszólalásomban elhangzottak.
Речь идет о полном выводе всех войск Украины из Донецкой, Луганской народных республик, из Запорожской и Херсонской областей.
Arról van szó, hogy a Donetszki, Luganszki, Herszoni és Zaporozsjai területről Ukrajnának ki kell vonni a csapatait.
Есть и другие условия, но это все предмет для достаточно подробного рассмотрения в ходе возможной совместной работы.
The scene gets even more theatrical when you consider that Putin made these remarks standing right next to Viktor Orban, the Prime Minister of Hungary, a member of both NATO and the European Union. It's quite a spectacle when the leader of a democratic nation appears alongside someone demanding the redrawing of international borders by force. One might wonder how this aligns with the principles of sovereignty and territorial integrity that NATO and the EU supposedly champion. It is almost commendable how Putin frames his demands as a pathway to peace, glossing over the fact that these are the very regions his forces have aggressively targeted. And those other conditions that require detailed consideration during possible joint efforts, one can only imagine what additional concessions he has in mind. It's a classic case of offering a solution that benefits the aggressor, wrapped in the language of diplomacy, a masterclass in political irony. Russia's invasion of Ukraine, which began in February 2022, has resulted in significant destruction in several Ukrainian cities, including Mariupol and others in the eastern and southern regions. The conflict has caused extensive damage to infrastructure and residential areas, leading to a humanitarian crisis, with many civilians displaced from their homes. There have been reports and allegations that Russian authorities in the occupied territories are facilitating the sale or redistribution of properties belonging to displaced Ukrainians to Russian citizens. These actions include offering real estate at reduced prices or incentivizing Russians to relocate to these areas. Well, such practices have raised serious concerns and have been criticized by Ukraine and various international organizations.
Как купить квартиру в Мариуполе? Выгоднее ли вложиться в разрушку, чтобы потом продать дороже, когда восстановят? Как здесь снять в аренду помещение для бизнеса? Сколько это стоит? Какие квартиры предлагают на продажу и от чего зависит цена? Здесь разбитые здания соседствуют с новенькими и восстановленными. Рынок недвижимости очень нестандартный, мы его подробно изучили и сейчас вам обо всем расскажем.
Покидали в спешке свое жилье.
Очень мало уцелевшей недвижимости. Спрос очень большой.
Пока мы готовили выпуск, мы столько интересного и даже удивительного увидели.
Это нонсенс, это специфика.
Люди не могут вернуться и видеть все свое вот в таком состоянии. Квартиру восстанавливают, и цена сразу возрастает. Квартира стоит 5 миллионов.
Начинает заходить бизнес с российских регионов.
Бесценное вложение будет.
Скидочку сделаете?
Literally an estate agent from hell. These actions are viewed by many as violations of international law, particularly the Fourth Geneva Convention, which prohibits an occupying power from transferring its own civilian population into the territory it occupies, and from confiscating private property. The international community has called for respect of Ukraine's sovereignty and the rights of its citizens, including the right of displaced persons to return to their homes. Not that any Ukrainians in their right mind would actually want to return to towns and cities under Russian occupation, but, you get the idea, right? It's really about the fact that it's the Russians who have no business being in Ukraine in the first place, and should leave ASAP. By the way, replacing an eviction notice with an ATACMS is actually a good move. So, there you have it. A Russian estate agent walking around destroyed apartments filled with the debris from explosions. An absolutely ghastly situation, right? Would you ever imagine doing your work as an estate agent like that? But then again, this is Russia, a country that keeps worshipping their leader and his delusional drive for conquest. So, no surprises there. And with this, we conclude this episode of Break the Fake. Stay with us here on TVP World for more latest news and updates.